Welcome to this week's episode of ADHD with me, Donna, tea pioneer in the north of Scotland.
And me, Sarah, weenie mama, intuitive empowerment coach, speaker, author, and disabled mom of 3.5 kids.
The information shared in this podcast is lived experience and personal opinion. It does not constitute nor replace medical advice. ADHD, the podcast, are in no way legally responsible for any actions taken by anyone as a result of listening. The views expressed by any guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of Sarah or Donna. Okay, today we have an extremely special guest. I'm so excited to have her on with us today. We have got Maddy Alexander Grout today, she just published her next book because you've already got one book, don't you, Maddy?
Yeah, I mean, I quite often forget about it because it's really small. It's that ADHD thing where it's out of sight, out of mind. But I do have one. I do have another one as well.
And Maddy is a qualified business strategist. Let's change the way that I say this now. Who helps entrepreneurs get visible. She is also a TikTok specialist and an ADHD coach. For over a decade, Maddy has built a career as a money specialist and ADHD money influencer on TikTok, where she has over 68,000 followers. That's lots. She is a CPD accredited neurodiversity specialist and works through access to work and directly with her clients. And she has won multiple awards. Wow, you have lots of accolades here. This is incredible, Maddy. And we will have all these in the show notes because she's got a lot of information here. And
Sorry,
she
I always
has
write too much.
That's okay. And she also has, and nobody can see me, but I'm holding up her book now. Mad About Money is out now, and I intended to read it before we had her on, but I got about a quarter of the way through. And yeah, I love how frank you are about it actually, and like how honest and open you are. It's really, really eye-opening. So thank you for that.
You're so welcome, and thanks for having me.
So at the start of our episodes, I probably should have said this to you before. What we do is we ask each other what is on our mind and what is in our cup.
I could get a cup. This is, I think, my ADHD, and like I've either, and I don't know if you guys feel like this, but I have either got 3 different drinks. I've got a water, I've got a fizzy, I've got a hot, or I've got nothing at all, and I don't drink till about 7 o'clock, and then I realise I've got a headache, and I'm like, why is that there?
100% relief, yes. What's it? There's one for hydration, one for flavour, and one for
texture, I guess. Yeah. Fizz is kind of texture.
Yeah, texture, yeah.
I would say it's definitely texture. Sensory.
Yeah.
Sensory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, Sarah, what is on your mind and what is in your cup today?
On that note, what's on my mind? I feel like I'm in the presence of royalty today. This is super special for me, and I've already had some snippets of your book sent to me and read to me by Donna, so I'm super excited. And I've also had a little listen to some of your podcasts as well over the weekend, so I'm really excited about this. And I just think I already feel like we're kindred spirits in just a few minutes in, so this is really exciting. And what's in my cup, Donna? No prizes for guessing. Silence Clarity, my saviour at the moment for the anti-inflammatory properties, and it's just saving me on the daily at the minute. So yeah,
to know about this,
it's Donna's tea, and it's incredible because I am 7 months pregnant, and I'm very swollen.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Big surprise. I still forget sometimes that I'm pregnant because it was not on my bingo card for 2025 whatsoever. So I still forget sometimes, even though we're nearly at the end. And I'm very swollen and very lots of fluid and stuff. So the anti-inflammatory properties of this tea is like the only way I can put shoes on some days, which is quite incredible. And I discovered it completely by accident.
Oh, when I was pregnant, I had whenever it got hot, my ankles would like swell up and they'd be like balloons. So the only thing I could wear was flip-flops. And ever since then, now I only ever have 2 styles of shoe. I either wear my high tops or my boots, because I've got some really amazing pink glittery boots that I wear for like events and stuff, which I've made myself. One of my random ADHD hyperfocuses, I learned how to make things shiny. And then I've got like for the summer, as soon as the sun comes out, I'm like flip-flops. It's all about the flip-flops. So yeah, I just never went back. They're so comfy.
Yeah, no, I'm a DMs person, so I wear DMs all the time, and I can't at the minute. So it's like, oh, but yeah, the tea is saving me. So Donna,
Nice. Do you know what do you know what you're having?
I do. It's a boy, another boy. So
Boys are so much easier than girls.
aren't
Like
they? Oh, I'm
so
glad
much.
somebody has publicly acknowledged that. I totally agree. I have a daughter in the middle, and she is incredible, but she is intense.
I mean, my daughter, and we've gone a bit off topic already. I'm sorry, but my daughter from the age of 18 months told me she wanted to be a boy. So she's kind of like a girl mentally, but like a boy to look at. So sometimes I forget she's actually a girl, but she is definitely more high maintenance for sure.
Yeah, definitely more intense. My daughter would even say, like, Mom, I've got high emotions. I've got intense emotions. And like, at least she's owning who she is. And I love that. And we're really nurturing that. But it is so much easier with the boys because they just, yeah.
Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah.
Wait, Donna, what are you drinking?
I am drinking one of my 2025 teas, which arrived like 2 days ago. And by the time this goes out, they will be released.
One. It looks like a cocktail. It looks like some form of green, like, I mean, you can't all see what we're looking at, but it looks like some form of greeny, minty cocktail type thing. And I was thinking, is it cocktail hour? And no one's told me.
Well, we're not stopping you.
I don't drink anymore, but still.
Well, you could drink this.
It does look really good.
Yeah. So I have green tea in a gin glass. I really enjoy having green tea in a gin glass because you can actually put it in the glass because it's lower temperature water that you use. So you're not going to break the glass. And you can look at the leaves and they're so nice.
Great. Love it.
So yes, and yeah, what's on my mind is having Maddie in today. I'm super excited.
I tell you what's on my mind. I've just been kitchen shopping, which sounds really fun, but it's really boring. So I've been doing that because we're moving house in about 3 weeks. So we're just at the moment trying to get everything as prepared as possible. We're doing a staged move. So we're in an incredibly fortunate position where we don't have to sell the house that we're living in to move. So we don't have to move in one day, which is great. So we're moving like all ADHDers should move in a very slow, calm, considered and collected way so that the shock of moving doesn't like completely flummox me.
Yeah, no, moving is so stressful because it has to be so fast because you don't have that stage. You are literally just in one place and then suddenly everything needs to be out and suddenly everything in like the space of a couple of hours and it's just
Yeah.
too much.
So I'm doing it in a completely ADHD friendly moving way. So I'm
That
excited
is
about it.
amazing.
I sense another book coming along with that.
There is book 2 coming. It's already been planned. It's in the making. This one is actually, it's still going to be money related, but it's going to be more about making money from visibility. And it's going to be about like owning your identity, like owning your soundtrack and kind of all of the stuff that goes along with that to help you to get more visible in a way that's kind of more powerful to you. So yeah, that's going to be book 2. It's even got a name. It's got a logo. I've started writing it.
Wow, awesome.
I'm trying not to distract myself too much with new book before I finished selling old book, which is only 4 days old.
I know, I am so impressed. If you can do that, like tell me how, because like with the new teas, one of my problems is that I'm like, oh, I've got it in and I want to tell everybody, but I'm like, I need to then go and design the label. I need to then go and do the listing. I need to go, there's all these other things that go into it. And by the time I'm actually ready to launch it, I'm like, okay, I've got another one in now. I need to do that. And I forget to sell it. Because I'm then excited about the next one. And it's a cycle. And I
Sell
just
one thing. Do you know what this is? This is what, like, I mean, to be honest, people don't even have to pay me to be coached by me for this one specific bit of information. When you've got ADHD and you're running a business, do one thing. It doesn't mean you don't have to do all of the things, because I'm a multi-potentialite. So this is how I introduce myself. Like, I'm a multi-potentialite. I have got all of the things. So like I have lots of skills: money specialist, TikTok influencer, coaching, business. I know a lot about social media. I know a lot about sales, a lot about business strategy, and all of these different things that come in. I only ever sell one product at a time. So if I'm launching something, I sell that, and I've got a calendar that I use throughout the year where I actually plot what I'm talking about at any given time, so that I don't get really distracted, and I don't launch something unless I've got a month where I don't have anything else that I'm talking about, because otherwise you get completely distracted and you don't ever make any money ever. So if you focus on the one thing, sell that thing. When you get bored of it, sell the next thing.
Yeah, I definitely have that issue. I'm like, okay, I'm onto this next thing, but I'm not ready to sell that yet, but it's super exciting. And then
Yeah.
I just kind of like fade from social media because I'm like, well, I can't talk about this because I'm no longer excited about this. And I can't talk about this because I'm not ready to sell this. So I'm kind of in this weird limbo always.
If I'm not launching something, it's basically launch limbo. I absolutely hate it. And I've been in limbo for months because I've been waiting to be able to promote Visible Fest, which is my online inclusive festival. I've been waiting for the book launch. So although I've been talking about it, I haven't been selling it. So there's been no dopamine attached to that. And then I've also got a big launch that's happening in September, which is my next cohort for Amplify Your Influence, which is a big visibility, business strategy, money making type of course, which is 12 weeks. So the limbo has been hard, and I think limbo when you've got ADHD is one of the most difficult places you can ever be. I've been waiting to move as well, and that limbo's been horrendous. So just being in limbo in general when you've got ADHD is just it's hard because we don't have a focus, and you need to have a focus to be able to move forward in your business. So I think it's very very prominent when you're in limbo, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I just feel like I'm constantly on the bottom.
Yeah. I go into limbo when I'm waiting for a midwife appointment, never mind a book launch. I go into wait mode and I can't do anything else because I know I've got the thing and I've got to leave the house on time, and then I'm like paralyzed. It's like, yeah, oh.
You know what? Pregnancy, though, I think is just one big limbo.
Yeah, it really is.
Because you're just waiting for this thing to cook inside you, and you're like, especially if you've got other kids as well, it's going to come out at some point, and you're like, oh, that's not fun.
Yeah.
Where is it? When is this going to end?
That's it. And like I say, I'm trying to get on with my normal life and do my normal things, and I've had a big career shift as well recently. And then every so often it's like, oh, there's a whole other person coming to live in our lives, and this what? And it's not like I haven't had 9 months to be ready for this, but every so often the reality of what that means just hits me, and it's like, oh no.
Apparently you've got 2 already, haven't you?
I've got 3 already.
3 already. Oh, you'll be fine. Adding a 4th is just chuck them in the cupboard under the stairs.
Exactly,
you'll be right.
1 to 2 is horrific.
Yes.
And then any subsequent just slot in.
Yeah, I'm definitely done. Absolutely done. I've got 2 and no more. 2 and a dog.
Well, that is the hardest. So
yeah. I'm not gonna make. I also don't think I'd survive if I had another baby. From a spoon's perspective, I mean, already I think my children both take I don't know 5 spoons a day, and then I've got 2 remaining for myself, and I can't give those to anybody else. It's just no point.
Yeah.
I'd be on the floor crying.
Fair. That is very fair. I tend to go into survival mode, and I'm doing the things, and then it's afterwards I'm like, how did I even do that? Yeah, and then I go into shutdown for about 2 weeks. They're like, oh.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And the burnout, and with ADHD, when you are in that perpetual burnout cycle, adding children into the mix and hormones into the mix, it's just game over. Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to scare you, but good luck.
Yeah, no, it is. It's intense, but I just kind of figure I didn't plan this, but it's happening for a reason, so I've just got to go with it.
Absolutely.
And just own where I'm at any given moment. And if there's a day that I just can't adult, then I can't adult, and just be okay with that.
I mean, the way that I see it is the more children you have, the more likely it is you're going to get into a good care home when you hit that age, because there's more people to pay for it.
Fair.
So you're good.
Fair, that's true. That is true. I've got 4 salaries coming in. Yeah, good point. Very good point. Yeah.
You might need to help me out. I might need to be hiding in your cupboard in the care
Yeah.
home, so I've got
You can go,
somewhere to
we'll
live.
set up a commune and we can all live together.
Fun and games.
Oh, we went on a tangent again. Maddie, what's in your cup? What's on your mind?
So, in my physical cup, nothing, because I forgot to get myself a drink, which was really sad. But yeah, what's on my mind at the moment? So I have been, I guess a little bit flattened over the last couple of weeks because I've got a lot of friends in the trans community, so I've been shouting about what's going on there. I heard through a friend of a friend that there was very sadly a death relating to an attack, horrendous. So yeah, I've just been trying to show up and support people as much as I can at the moment. It's just I don't know what's going on with this country, but it's just not a particularly nice place to be at the moment. So yeah, so my mind has been very focused on that. And aside from that, book launch, because my book launched on Friday. I managed to I woke up in the morning on Friday and it was at number 29 in the Amazon charts. And I was like, oh, I'm never going to get to number one. This is really rubbish. But I thought, you know what? Like, I still need to sell books because otherwise I don't get paid. So I'll just, I'll continue to shout about it. And about 6:30, I managed to get to number one on the Amazon bestseller charts. And I got to number 4 and number 5 in the other categories that I was in as well. So it has dropped down a bit now, but I think, the more podcasts I can be on, the more I can talk about it, hopefully it will get back up. And I've just started to get the reviews through, and every time I get a review, it makes me cry. So I've been doing a lot of crying this weekend.
So I need to write a review once I finish them.
Yes, you do, please. Yeah, that would be amazing.
I shall do my best. As I said, I have bullet points, but I have 2. That's all I've
We can
got.
talk about whatever.
Yeah, no. So a huge thing that me and Sarah have actually spoken about before is money things. Like both of us are very much like, oh, we won't look at the money, we won't look at the figure, and it's fine, and we'll just stick our heads in the sand about it. And I'm well, speaking for me, it actually has like a physical response. I like have like
Yeah.
almost like a tightening in my chest of I can't do this. But yeah, I just how can we be fixed?
I would love to say that there is a magic pill for fixing your money, but sadly there isn't. I think the first thing is not berating yourself, like realizing that when you have ADHD, you are going to have a difficult struggle with money. Our executive function, our emotional regulation, impulsivity, all of these kinds of things lead into our money situation. And all of these things are things that we can't really help, but we can be aware of them. So by being aware of the fact that ADHD tax is a thing, like I quite often now, if I have ADHD tax, I will do a TikTok about it and I'll talk about how that ADHD tax has shown up for me. So, there are lots of things. So this morning I took my car to the car valeters, and in my mind, it's like, I know that this is going to cost me more money. I have ADHD kids, and because of the fact that my executive function is so bad, I know that for about 3 months, I will not take anything out of the car. I will not clean the car. I will not even look at the car. So I decluttered it yesterday. I put my fingers in some chocolate cake and I was just like, I don't remember the last time my kids went to a party. So that's pretty gross. So I got that horrible sensory ick and I'm like, get off me, get off me. But eventually I got all of the stuff out and I looked at it and I thought, there is not a chance in hell that I can even pretend that I don't have kids by taking the car seat out today. I'm just going to have to go and just own it. And normally when I take the car to the valeters, it's about £35. It was 50 today. They were like, yeah, because you've got children, we're going to charge you more. I'm like, yeah, I totally saw that one coming. So it's like being aware that ADHD tax is a thing. I try and remind my audience as much as humanly possible to do things like checking up on subscriptions, cancelling things you're not paying for, automating your payments, because when you don't have to think about when your bills are going out, they get paid. When you do have to think about them and you have to actually pick up the phone, I mean, picking up the phone is hard when you've got ADHD. So it's about all of that awareness around that piece and not telling yourself that you're bad with money, because if you keep telling yourself you're bad with money, you will still be bad with money. If you say to yourself, I'm working on improving my money situation, I'm getting better with my money, I can be good with money, my ADHD doesn't stop me from being good with money, then you can sort of change your mindset around it a little bit. And I talk about this a lot in the book. Impulse spending, something that ADHDers really, really struggle with. And there's loads and loads of tips and tricks that I talk about in the book that can help you to overcome those. But essentially, the worst thing that we can do is bury our head in the sand and pretend that it doesn't exist, because that's when stuff gets worse. It's hard to rip off that plaster, but it's about doing one thing. So for anyone listening, if you are thinking my money situation is really crap right now, what can I do to go and fix it? The first thing that I would say is if you're too scared to look at your bank account, you don't know how much money's in there. Instead of looking at your bank account for 2 weeks, write down every single last penny that you spend. Then you're going to know how much money you need to earn. And if there is a gap there, like between your employment or your self-employment, and you're spending more than you've got coming in, that's when you can think about, like, what can I do to improve this? Is there anything that I can cut out? And you can look back at that list and think, well, actually, did I need that coffee that I went and bought from Starbucks that cost me £4.80? And I'm never ever going to be the person who shames somebody for buying a coffee if that's what makes their life good. But could you go to Sainsbury's and get a pack of the nice frothy coffees instead? Because they actually taste very similar. They just don't come in a Starbucks cup, So could you make some swaps that would help you in your journey? Or do you need that coffee? If you need that coffee, if it's part of your routine, you need that, crack on. See where else you could swap. It could just be down to, whether you buy fresh vegetables or frozen vegetables. Some of these really teeny weeny little swaps can actually save you quite a lot of money over the year. How many subscriptions have you got? Do you really need Netflix, Amazon, Disney Plus? Like, I've actually just cancelled my Netflix. I thought Netflix wouldn't be the one to go, but I'm all over Disney Plus at the moment. So what I do is, if I'm watching a series, I'll cancel the ones that I'm not using, and then when I need them, I'll bring them back in again.
That makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Because you can pause or cancel your Netflix or your Amazon or your Disney Plus anytime you need to. So you don't have to have them all running at the same time.
I actually really love the fact that you do check in. Is it on Threads every month, and then you say, have you checked your subscriptions? I think that's absolutely fantastic. Every time I see it, I'm like, okay, I'll go and check now. Thanks, Maddy.
It's a reminder to myself as well, because sometimes I forget, and then I'm like, oh, for God's sake, like, because I actually forgot to check last month. I did my reminder, I told everybody else, and then I had a subscription come out. It was for the Sunday Times. It's like, I don't even read the Sunday Times, but I was in it last month, so I wanted to read it. So I paid the £1 subscription, £26 to subscribe to a bloody newspaper that I don't read. I was like, so annoying. But these things happen. And also, I check my subscriptions because my children often go on my phone, and sometimes they will order stuff accidentally. So I just think, the more you can check these things, like I check my bank subscriptions, I check my Apple subscriptions, and I wear my business ones as well. Like, people forget to check business ones. I did a business makeover last month because I was in so many memberships that I just wasn't using, and I managed to save myself nearly £400 a month. So it's worthwhile.
Yeah, it's so easy to let them like pile up, and you think, oh, I'll use that, and then you're like, I haven't logged into that in 3 months.
Yeah,
Whoops.
exactly.
Yeah.
Me, I'm like, the thought of checking my bank statement just gives me, like, I have a full body visceral reaction to that, to the point where my husband actually checks the statements for me, and then we have a code of like good, getting dodgy, or bad, and that's like, I don't even want to know the numbers. It's just like, give me a heat reading here on this, and
I used to be exactly the same. Like, I'd go for months without looking. Now I check my bank account probably twice a day, just to make sure that there's nothing going on that shouldn't be going on. When you are consciously looking, and even if that number is bad, like, looking or not looking is not going to change that number.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
when you look at it, at least you are in the know. So therefore, it's not that fear of the unknown, it's the fear of the known. And when you've got the fear of the known, you can actually work on what to do
Do
to fix
something.
that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, it is hard, and it's like ripping off a plaster. And once you've started and you've got in the habit, having pots set up in your bank account is the thing that really changed everything for me. So I give myself a little competition. So I'm like, oh, how much money can I put into that pot this month? Like, if I've got anything left over, I'm like, oh, which pot does that deserve to go into? Do the kids need it in their ice cream fund, or do I want it in my hair dye fund? Like, I've got literally a pot for everything. So, I've even got a pot for massages because I quite like getting a massage.
Love
And
that.
if it goes for a couple of months where I haven't had a massage, I'm like, oh, cool, I've got enough for a spa day now. And I don't feel guilty about anything that I spend. And when you get to that point, you're not scared of checking your bank account again. So it
Love that.
it takes time.
Thank
It's
you
not
so much for
something that you can
listening.
fix
You
overnight.
can
It's
find
taken me
us
probably
across
20
on
years to
Threads
fix my
at
money
ADHD
situation.
Podcast,
And I still have
Instagram as
days where I'm like, oh,
well,
I forgot
same
about that thing.
handle.
It's so
And you can
annoying.
find
Why has
me
that happened?
on, and
Today I
what's
spent
happening?
15
Everything's
pounds
falling out of my
extra that I
head.
hadn't
You can
accounted
find me
for.
on
Like,
Unravel
I
Tea
kind of knew it was going to come, but
Threads and
like
also
then,
Instagram.
yesterday we went into
And you can
town
find
and
Sarah
like I
on
went
It's
for
Really
went for
More
lunch with my dad for his birthday. And,
TikTok. And if you have
I
any
ended up
comments or anything, any
like
questions, let us
inviting his
know and we
ex-girlfriend
will
thinking
answer
she would
them, or we will do our
pay
best
to,
to answer them.
for her own
We will
meal.
be
Didn't
back in
even
your ears
offer, so I
next
ended up paying for
week.
hers
Thank
as well.
you.
That was an extra like nearly
Bye.
30 quid that I hadn't accounted for, but I've always got that buffer there. So I know that if anything unexpected happens, it's not going to send me into a complete spiral. And when I used to have bad money problems, I'd walk around like this. Like, I'd be so tense and stressed, like all the time. My shoulders would be up at my ears. And now I'm just like really relaxed and really chill about everything because I know what's going on. And there's always something like, my business finances are worse than my personal finances now. I think I get more shiny object syndrome with the business because I'm like, oh, that will help me to grow the business. But I've got this kind of for both sets of spending now. I've got like a set of rules. So it's like, is it going to add value to my life? What could I do with that money that is for me? What could I do to elevate myself? So like yesterday, I was like on a really bad, like it wasn't bad, but I had this decision to make. It's like, do I invest money into doing something, or could I spend that money more wisely doing something else? And it was a speaking thing. And I thought about it and I thought, actually, I'm already a speaker. I don't need to pay somebody to teach me how to be a speaker. I definitely don't need to pay to be on somebody else's stage. So if I invested that money into having my own stage, having my own thing, would that be better? Yes, it would. Okay, perfect. Decision solved. So it's about questioning yourself and actually being prepared to be quite critical, because you can be. Like, if you're about to buy something online, it's like, I really wanted a new dress for my book launch and I couldn't find what I wanted, and I was getting really, really stressed about it. So I just thought, okay, well, I'm going to ask people for their suggestions. And in the end, I found two that I really liked. And both of those two dresses were cheaper than what my budget was. So I thought, I'll buy both of them, I'll try them on. And whichever one doesn't look good, I'll have for another event. I'm not going to say to myself, I'm going to send it back, because I know 100% full well I'm not going to send it back.
Yeah.
I think being honest with myself, like so many people are like, oh, I'll just order this massive Shein haul and half the stuff doesn't fit me and it's just going to sit by the front door waiting to get sent back and it's never going to get sent back. That's when people start to get in trouble. It's about the conscious spending, but also knowing what you're going to do with the things. Because when you know your brain, you understand how you're going to be with something. I know full well that if I order stuff online, it doesn't fit, it's never going back. I ordered the nicest pair of shoes at Christmas. They arrived and they were the wrong shoe. And I emailed the people and I was like, oh, you sent me the wrong shoe. And they were like, oh, have you got a printer? If you could just print this label and send them back to us, we'll send you the other ones. The ones I really wanted. But my executive function was like, no, I just don't have that. So again, that was another thing that caused me ADHD tags. I still wanted the original trainers. But instead of bracing myself over it, I found a use for the ones that they sent me that weren't quite right. And I have plans to make them shiny with my new hobby. So they're going to be
That
really
sounds
cool.
good. That
Yeah.
sounds good. That's quite interesting. So it's basically just changing, or I say just, like changing your mindset about it and
Yeah.
kind of reframing how you think about it as well. I have a good example of ADHD tax. I haven't told Sarah about this. I think she's not going to be very happy with me. Um, I recently got a big kind of restock of infusers, and they were very, very damaged. As in, I ordered, I think it was about like 70% of them were really damaged, and I wouldn't want to sell them.
Mm.
And I got back to the people and I was like, this is not acceptable. And they were like, well, tough. I'm not giving you any refund. Try washing them with water. And I was like, they're bent. Basically, that went on for about a month, and I have to say that I was keeping up to date with their messages. I was so proud of myself, but this is a month, and I that's a lot of stuff to be keeping up to date with. And I was like, right, okay, so I'd bought it with Amex, and I was like, right, I know that they've got like a thing you can claim back with, and I raised a thing, and then I got a letter the other day because I forgot to update all the information they needed, and they basically closed it. So yeah, I have a lot of damaged infusers and I don't know what to do with them.
God.
I would personally name and shame if you get sent something that's damaged. I mean, go and check out Helen Judeney, the complaining cow. She will teach you. She's amazing. So she deals with all sorts of consumer rights and all sorts of things that are like that consumers struggle with when it comes to getting refunds. Also, in Mad About Money, there is a big section about how to get refunds. So
Okay.
I would
Okay.
fight that because they can't send you damaged things. If you've got proof they were damaged when they arrived, they can't do that.
The issue was that because of like logistics, you're supposed to check them within 7 days. And when I'd ordered them, it said that it was going to arrive at a date and we were going on holiday.
Oh,
It
no.
was after we got back from holiday, and you know where this is going now. And they arrived, and we only got back, I think it was 8 days after they arrived, because they arrived like the day after we left on holiday. And because of that, I don't have a leg to stand on, supposedly, because I didn't raise it within 7 days.
So what I would do is I would chuck it in the fuck it bucket, forget about it, move on because it's taking up your brain energy and your thoughts. And actually, I think it's probably just one that you're going to have to write off, which sucks, really sucks. It always sucks when that happens, but it's not your fault. It was out of circumstances. If you'd have been there, you'd have been able to sort it. So don't berate yourself. It is annoying, but chuck it in the fuck it bucket. Let's move on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just so frustrating.
Really is. Really is. Whenever that happens, I have lots and lots of things that happen. And we're only human. We can only do what we can do. I think we are susceptible. I mean, especially things like scams. ADHD is quite often fall for scams. We get suckered into things that are, we're salespeople's dreams. And my husband said this. We were walking around M&S earlier on, and my husband was like, "Oh, you're such a salesperson's dream." Because I went to get some lunch, and they had like in M&S they've got those giant king prawns with the little dipping pot. He was like, "Why don't you just get a prawn cocktail?" I said, "But this one's the dippy pot." He's like, "You're a marketer's dream." And I'm like, "But it's the dippy bit that I really like." Like, and he's right. He's absolutely right. Like when you've got ADHD, all people need to do is kind of batter their eyelids at you a bit, and you're like, "Sold, I'll buy all of the things." Which is why social media is so super dangerous, and is one of the reasons why I created my app, so that there was a space for people to be social without being constantly sold to all the time. Like, you can scroll through the feed and not worry about being, people trying to sell you stuff. We've got a whole section. If you want to go and browse all the stuff that you want to buy, we've got a whole shop. We've got a big thread for people who are selling their wares. But for everybody who wants to avoid that, that's also there.
I downloaded the app and I haven't opened it. That's
Don't worry, honestly, don't worry about it, because we're actually about to move from having our own app, which sounds really cool, but it's really expensive and actually it's quite clunky, to having a community on
Oh,
Heartbeat,
okay.
which is so much easier to use. And I think we're actually really excited about it. It's going to be really good. So basically, Mad About Money is, and as you will see from the book, it's not just about money. It's about life, it's about neurodiversity, it's about inclusion, it's about diversity. Mad About Money is basically, it's our thoughts, our ethics, and our beliefs. It's a place where people who have always felt that they were different, they were marginalized, they were left out of things, underrepresented. It's a community where people can come together to learn about money, about business, about life, about self-development, self-care, your own self-worth. And it's a place where there's loads of amazingly cool humans who all hang out and help each other, collaboration over competition. I mean, it's been described as a woke lefty app, and I'm like, cool, fine, whatever. But it's basically a place where like everybody is welcomed, celebrated, and it's a place where people can come and talk about the stuff that they're going through. So it's not just about money. Yes, you will learn stuff about money in there. If you've got struggles with your money situation, there is a premium, there's going to be a premium kind of level where I do coaching and we have like monthly sessions. There's going to be like people, like things that people can see if they're monthly subscribers. And we're actually going to have the subscription super cheap. It's going to be like £2.99 a month. So for anyone who wants to upgrade to come along to like the group coaching sessions, to get me to personally chat with them about their money situation and all that sort of stuff, we can have. But social media, I mean, and if you don't want to be sold to, social media is not the place to be anymore. So, you know, when you're somebody who struggles with impulse spending and you want to talk to people and you want to actually be social, you want the social media element of, you know, what it was like 20 years ago, maybe not 20 years ago, like 15 years ago. You know, that's kind of where we're going back to.
Yeah, it sounds amazing.
Thanks.
It does. Actually sounds like how the world should be.
Well, this is, I mean, that's what I want it to be. I want us, like, you know, and the reason I called it Mad About Money, A, it's a play on my name. B, it's because I am mad with money. Like, you know, I am genuinely, it makes me mad. Like, every single thing that is going on in this country is somehow linked back to money. Like, everything is. The way that we live, the way that we shop, the way that we communicate with each other, our disabilities, our differences, our sexuality, our gender, all of it comes down to money when it comes to the government. So this is the place, like this is how we want the world to be. It's the social media app, the place where people can come if they don't want people to, you know, berate them on social media or, you know, troll them or be horrific. You know, it's basically, we've got a no douchebags allowed policy, which we're very, very clear on. Like when you sign up, it's like, are you a douchebag? Are you racist, homophobic, transphobic, sexist, whatever? If any of these things apply to you, get in the fuck it bucket. You're not welcome. So, you know, and no strike, like it's literally like a one strike and you're out type situation. So yes, people can have differences of opinions. Yes, people can have different beliefs, different religions, different whatevers, different backgrounds, but it's all about kindness. It's about accepting each other and supporting each other. And if you can't do that, then, you know, I'd rather have like 20 people in my app who are all supporting each other than have millions of people like Facebook where it's a cesspit and people don't want to show up because they're too scared.
100%.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It does. I think it's kind of interesting as well, because I think that actually is the reason why me and Sarah started this podcast as well, because we have that with each other, you know, so we're constantly dropping into like WhatsApp and sending voice notes, and that's kind of where this came from, because we can have a difference of opinion, but we can discuss it as well, you know,
Yes.
and sometimes
Yeah.
actually we're like, wait a minute, actually, no, you make much more sense than I did, and you know, I'm simplifying it obviously, but yeah.
If we say something that maybe jars each other initially, we'll go away and think about it and look at it from another angle and go, oh, and instead of coming back and go, well, no, you're wrong, we go, actually, you've opened my mind to another aspect that I hadn't thought of before. And it's we respect each
Exactly.
other's different. There's not a huge amount of differences, but when they are there, they're there for expansion, not for to fight about.
Exactly. And I think it's about learning, it's about education, and it's about actually being open to learning. You know, I'm not going to say to somebody, you know, because there are going to be people who maybe don't understand things like neurodiversity, they don't understand trans rights, they, you know, they don't want to exclude those people, they don't want to be you know, different towards them, but sometimes they might be because they're learning. That's okay. Those people, they're welcome to come in, because we want those people to come in so that we can learn to make them allies. We can learn to make them more understanding of diversity and inclusion. That's kind of where we're at. It's those people who you just know you're never going to change their mind. Those are the people we don't want.
The people who have decided that this is the case and they're not going to listen to anything else, no matter
Exactly that.
how many
Yeah.
times you say it and how many different ways you say it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And sadly, the world is full of those people.
More than I would like to talk about right now. I mean, it's horrible. You know, every time I put a post up, you know, I always lead, and this is something that I've always been really proud of. Like I'm an oversharer. What you see is what you get with me. There's no airs and graces. There's no, you know, I say it how it is, and I say it how I see it. And that obviously at times comes with, you know, trolling, people who disagree with me. It's fine to disagree, but don't be a dick about it. You know, like that's basically where I'm at.
Yeah. Like that whole was it sickfluencer? Was that what was that
Yeah.
was like that?
Yeah. So for everybody listening, it's happened twice this year
Oh, has
already,
it? Oh
actually.
no.
Yeah, January and April, they were quite
I think it
spread
was
apart.
okay.
But yeah, basically because I talk about disabilities, I talk about benefits. Access to work is something that I help people to get when they're a business owner. So access to work is a government funded scheme that helps people who are either employed or in self-employment to survive in the workplace, essentially, if they've got neurodivergent conditions, if they're disabled, or if they have mental health problems. And I talk about it very openly. I tell people how they can apply for it if they have a disability or condition that affects them in the workplace. That word "if" is very important. But apparently, I have been basically dubbed a sickfluencer, and a sickfluencer is somebody who persuades people that they are sick in order to claim benefits, which is most definitely not what I do. You know, I don't go around going, oh, by the way, like you've got ADHD, like, or whatever. Like, I mean, I'm not qualified to diagnose people. If you read my book, you might come out of it thinking I should probably get a diagnosis now, because you'll probably start to understand your brain a bit more. But that's the thing, really. It's not about diagnosing people, it's about helping people to understand themselves enough so that they can get the support that they are entitled to. So the press massively threw me under the bus. I was on the front page of the Daily Telegraph, which was interesting. It was horrible. There was lots of negative press. They basically accused me of all sorts of things, which was quite funny. And every single person like who came to me was like, Maddy, well done, stick up for what you believe in. And I actually ended up getting about 5,000 new social media followers from that article, with people who actually wanted to be in my world and
That's
people
incredible.
who supported. So they do say, you know, no press is bad press. I've seen some examples where that doesn't quite fit in, where people kind of really do go for people about things that aren't true, things that are quite damaging to people's personal lives. I 100% expect there will be some negative press about my book, because I've been really raw and honest. But for the majority, I know it's going to help people, and that's why I show up and I continue to be authentic and talk about the things that matter to me.
Yeah.
Imagine having the audacity to tell people what they're entitled to, and open their eyes to what they're entitled
I
to.
know,
How dare
right?
you? Like, who do you
Because
think you
this is the
are?
thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm an incredibly horrible human. But the thing is, though, the government, again, it comes down to money, because if they tell people it
Mhm.
exists, then the people who need it will claim it,
Yeah.
and therefore they won't have enough money to pay. So, I have done so many people a really good service by actually pointing out to them that they can get this benefit if they're struggling, which has changed loads of people's lives. But the government hate it, the press don't like it, and it's
It's probably another reason why waiting lists and things for diagnosis is so long,
absolutely, yeah,
because if they can mask the size of the need, then they don't have to address the,
exactly.
yeah.
And there's I mean, every time the budget happens, there are always people that get left out and forgotten about. And there are so many more people who are needing help and support. It's like when the government, like, talking about homeless people, it's like, they're going to be fined for sleeping on the streets. I mean, with what money? Like, how are they going to pay that? Just, there's so many things that are going on. Anyway, I won't get too political about it, but it is
Mm.
this year for me, as a inclusivity and diversity influencer, has been, let's say, very, very busy. It's been a bit crazy, but I'm still going to stand up for what I believe in. I'm still going to go out there and be the strong ally that I am, because I've got friends who really need me to be there to support them right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Good on you.
It's so frustrating because it does just seem to be one after the other. There doesn't seem to be any respite as well.
It is scary, and we still got, what, 8 months left of the year?
I mean, I don't want to make any predictions for who they're going after next. But it is scary. It really is scary for so many people. It would be nice if we could just all get along and everybody accept each other, but it's clear that that's not going to happen. So,
Good thing is, though, we're all stubborn, so we're not going to go away quietly.
no, bloody hell, no, we're not. Absolutely not. No, like, and this is the thing. I think, I teach people in the visibility strategy work that I do. I teach people to show up authentically as themselves, and that comes with a lot of fear, because lots of people at the moment are scared to show up as who they want to be, because the world is not accepting of us. So we have to be really resilient and work out how we want to show up in line with our own boundaries, really. Because if you've got something going on, you might not want to share about you might not want to share it, because you might be scared of people attacking you. And at the moment, the way things are, people will. But I think it just means that, supporting the people who are having that voice, who are going out there and shouting about it, it's really important. So if you don't feel like you're confident enough to go and shout about all of these issues, make sure that you're trying to support the people who are, because we're not going to get there unless we have
So
a
it's kind of like
voice.
amplifying the people who are putting that message out there. Yes, that
Yes,
makes so much sense.
exactly that. Exactly that. And that's what my course is all about. It's helping people to, like, it's called Amplify Your Influence. And it's all about helping people who have got a voice but want to be more vocal. It's about helping them to do that and protect themselves during the process, and help them through the mindset of it, the money mindset, like helping them to get their messaging right so that they're not offending anybody. And yeah, it's kind of about helping people to be the person that they want to be online without having to hide
Yeah,
behind anything.
I think it's also quite difficult for just taking me for example, because my lived experience, obviously. Um, I find it very difficult to know who I am still. I mean, I only had my diagnosis about 2 years ago now, I think it is. But I kinda knew maybe 2 years before that, but I'm still like, wait a minute. That's actually not, sometimes I'll have a thought or something, I'm like, I don't feel like that though. Why am I thinking this? And it's still like working through this, and I still, I suppose, don't really know who I am. I'm still working through the layers of the masks that I've put on, or facades,
Yeah,
it is really difficult.
it's hard. Yeah, because especially when you're like, because another trait that comes with ADHD is the people pleasing trait. We show up as who we think other people want us to be, but it's super liberating when you start being the person who you want to be. Like when I got approached about my book, so I didn't actually have to pitch to any publishers or anything like that. They actually approached me and they said, do you want to write a book? And I said, sure. What do you want me to write a book about? And they said, oh, ADHD and money would be really good. And I was like, well, who's going to want to read that? It's going to be really boring. Like, I don't want to write a boring book. And they said, okay, well, pitch it to us then. What do you want to write? So that was where the idea from Mad About Money came from. Like, I said to them, yes, I want it to educate people. I want it to help. I want to help people with like all the tips and stuff, but I want to tell my story. I want to tell my story of like all the crap that I've been through to get my diagnosis. I want to talk about like all of the dark times that have happened in my life so that I can inspire people to keep going if they feel like they're really stuck. And I want there to be colouring pages in it. And the fuck glossary, which is at the back, that came at the end because there were so many swear words in it that they were like, yeah, we're going to change these swear words into like fun words and then we'll put a fuck glossary at the back. I was like, okay, fine.
I actually quite like that. I quite like because I kind of assumed that, and I really love that.
Yeah.
Like, kind of touch.
There were 342 swear words in it, and they were like, yeah, this is just too sweary. I'm like, but this is how I am in real life. So like, I don't want my clients to like read the book and it be all like nice and sweet, and then they get on a call with me and I'm like effing this and effing that. So I have very much got a potty mouth, and I'm like absolutely okay with that. And if my clients aren't okay with that, they're probably not my right people. So I have gone through all of the layers of unmasking, of like being who I want to be and showing up, and it all being really exciting actually, because every single time I show up on social media, I'm like, oh, I just said something that like, and this book was the ultimate unmasking for me, because there's nothing in the book that has happened really in my life that I haven't shared about. So there are some quite hard hitting parts in the book, but the publishers, I didn't want to do the same as everybody else. I didn't want there to be a boring money book. And in fact, all of the books out there about ADHD, they're all very samey. Like, no offense to the authors, because they're all really good authors, but they're very samey. This is funny, it's witty, it's, I guess, quite charming in places. Like, I do say so myself, makes me sound like I'm really big-headed. But these are the sorts of things that I'm getting feedback on the book about. It's not just some boring ADHD money book, because I know my audience. And when I know my audience, like, I know that they're not going to sit down for hours on end to read a book that's boring. Literally every person that I've spoken to has said, I can't put it down. It's really good. Like, you've written it in a way that means that I actually want to sit down and read it. I can't wait to get to the next chapter. I want to know what's going to happen in your story.
I completely relate to that. Yep.
So it's kind of taking people on that journey, and it's about learning. Like, if we learn about our brains, the more we know about ourselves, the more we can unmask. Like, we can't unmask if we don't understand ourselves. So it all comes at the same time.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, because one of the things that small amount of bullet points was actually the learn your triggers. That was really, really interesting to me. I was like, I've never thought about it like that before. Because there is certain things that happens. Like, I mean, obviously take the money thing, for example. Like, you just have that weird feeling. You're just like, right, okay, I'm triggered. There's something happening here. But there are other smaller things as well. If you kind of feel them in your body somehow, and then you sometimes like even feel the walls going up,
It's emotional boundaries. And the thing is, right, with spending is an emotional thing. Like, we've been told from a very, very, very young age about how important money is, but it's not important to have a relationship with it. And this is what the book really teaches people. It's about seeing money as energy. And when your energy is flowing, you are in a good place. When your energy is stagnant, you're in a bad place. So whether that, because even people who are, they think they're really good with money, but they hoard it to the point where they don't spend anything, that's not a healthy habit either. So it's not just about saving. It's not just about making more money. It's about actually learning to have those boundaries and have that control where you're consciously spending or consciously saving or just consciously making money decisions around what you want to do. So if you don't want to do something, you don't want to pay to go to the cinema with your friend or whatever, you can say, actually, I think my money would be better off spent somewhere else right now, and not do that because you want to people please with that person. So money is such an emotive thing, but we can spend with all emotions. People think, oh yeah, I'm sad or I'm bored or I'm lonely, like, oh, I'll spend money to fill the void. One of my biggest things is spending money when I'm happy. If I'm really excited about something, holding on to money is really hard. Like, I had almost the view that like rich people are horrible people. So if I have loads of money, I'm going to be a horrible person as well. It's not true. That we tell each other, we tell each other these lies about money, and our money habits and our money mindset is formed by the age of 7.
Wow.
Which is actually why I wrote my children's book. So that's My Money is a collaboration that I did with an amazing illustrator called Chris Dixon, and it's basically about a load of monsters that are colourful and dopamine-y, who go on a money journey. And there's a game in the book. It's all about helping children to understand money from a really young age, because we're not taught it. And if we form more of our money opinions, and that's on top of ADHD. So it's something like by the time we're 12 years old, we have 20,000 pieces of negative information fed to us. You're not good enough, you're too loud, you're too noisy. Like, children should be seen and not heard. That was a very big one in the 80s. We were not allowed to have big emotions. We weren't allowed to have the feelings, which is why we're probably also fucked up as adults.
Yeah.
But that's basically what the book's about. So for people thinking, oh, my money situation's not that bad, I don't really need to read this book, you probably still do. It's not just about money. Like my app is not just about money. Mad About Money, the brand, is about helping people to take control of their lives. It's about owning who they are and living in a really, really happy way based on a few different principles that I teach people in the book.
Yes, I'm going to finish reading the book today, probably after
I can't wait to get my hands on it as well. Looking forward to reading it.
To hear what you may think about it.
Yeah, as I said, I'm about a quarter of the way through it. But yeah, that was one of the main things, was learn your triggers. But that has so many like implications across all aspects of life. So yeah, I think that'll be quite interesting to kind of work with. There was one thing that popped into my head when I was reading it, because I've read the sort of primary school age essentially, because money is very much, I don't know if it's so much now, but it was always taboo to talk about. Like, adults were always like, oh, you don't ask people what they earn. Oh, you don't ask this. It was very much like, definitely don't ask about that. And I don't know if that's like a UK culture thing. I don't know if it's like a Western world thing.
I don't know, but I'm very much of the opinion. So every single day when we get into the car after the school run, my son asks me how much money I've made today. And we have a conversation about it. And if I've not had a good day business wise, I'll tell him. If I've made lots of money, I'll tell him. We have a really open relationship about money. Like, we go out for lunch, and it used to be that thing where you go out for lunch and like whoever had the bill, they used to hide it.
Yeah.
And it's like, why? So like Ben said to me yesterday, how much was that, mummy? And I said, oh, it was £128. He's like, oh, that's quite a lot. And I said, well, yeah, you guys did have desserts and we had starters and we had some olives and some bread and lots of drinks. And then he said, oh, well, that's quite a bit of money, isn't it, mummy? And I said, right, mummy and Auntie Becky are splitting the bill. And also we got a discounted voucher from Mad About Money. That's another thing you can get in the Mad About Money app. So we saved a bit of money on it. And on the way back, he said, mummy, do you want me to give you some money towards lunch? I said, no, it's all right. Daddy. He's so cute. He really is. So like, we always have chats, and like we'll go to like my kids come to the supermarket with me, and I will help them. I'll be like, right, so if we want some ice cream, like which ice cream is the best one for us to get? And Ben's like, so we check the price per 100 kilograms or 100 grams or whatever it is. It's like, and I mean, yes, we do. So like, we just have those really open conversations. And I think children who are told that money is bad, you can't spend your money, you can't do everything. And I basically say to my kids, like, whatever money you've got, it's up to you with what you spend, what you spend it on. So I tried to get the kids to do the car for me yesterday. I said, right, I'll buy you Robux and V-Bucks if you clean the car for me tomorrow. So they said, yeah. So when I came out to check the car, it was still absolutely filthy and they hadn't done a very good job. So I said, actually, you're not going to have them. If you want those Robux and V-Bucks, you're going to have to do something else to help me. And we didn't discuss it anymore. And I went and had a nap. And I came back down and Ben said, Mummy, I've tidied the living room for you. And he really had. He'd done a really good job. So I said, okay, you can have your Robux now and your V-Bucks. He said, well, I'm going to save mine until the 2nd of May because there's a new game package that's coming out and I really want that. And I said, do you think you can save that money for that? He said, yeah, Mummy, because I really want it. I'm not going to spend it on anything. And I checked with him this morning and I said, if you spend that money, I said, no, I'm saving it till the 2nd of May. So, you know, they're really good, but we have all these conversations so that they understand the process. And that's what it's all about, I think. And you can't teach kids money if it's all taboo and hush hush. You've got to be open about it.
That makes so much sense. Yeah.
Oh, this conversation has just been I love it. So good. So good.
No worries. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure being on. Thank you both for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. I've been so excited about it, and we've been trying to get you on for a while, and I've just not managed to get anything together. So we got there in the end.
And I very much hope this is just the first of many conversations that we have, because I feel like we've only scratched the surface.
Amazing. Oh, well, thanks so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. It's been amazing. And yes, you are exactly as you are online. And thank you so much. And I really look forward to reading the rest of your book.
Thank you so much for listening. Today we spoke to the incredible Maddy Alexander Grout, author of Mad About Money, which is available to buy now. We talked about all things money with ADHD, life with ADHD, triggers, getting to know yourself, getting to be confident and visible as exactly who you are, parenting with ADHD, and lots of other fabulous things.
And we will put all her links in the show notes as well. Highly recommend her book.
I did tell you that I could talk for absolutely forever. So like if you want me to come back on at any point, I'm more than happy to.
We will probably take you up on that.
I think we'll just have an open door policy. You can come whenever you like. Because
Maddy joining us today. I don't know.
Yeah. I could be like friend of the show. So
yes, 100%.
Okay, thank you so much. Lots of love. See you later.
Brilliant.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye. Bye.
Bye bye.